Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. As promised, we are doing a context video of the current Surviving Europa's time-lapse series, so you know what's going on, well, at least for the beginning. So let's get started. Alright, so the first things first is the server settings. So let's take a quick look at that. Alright, so not necessarily a server setting, but our settings for the specific load or game mode that we are playing, and that is going to be pretty much starting a new game, going to custom game here, going to a star system, name of the save or the game you're playing, and we're gonna jump right into a survival. And in this case, for the time lapse itself, I needed my second account, which I would have to put friends on or private on so that I can have the other account join and film the time lapse piece. Other than that, we're gonna check out the mods and advanced options that we put into this load. All right, so I'm in edit settings on the load screen currently, just to show you exactly what's going on. And first, let's go to the mods. Here, as you see on the left hand, is a slew of mods that I'm subscribed to through the workshop, the Steam workshop, and this is what I'm currently have active in the time-lapse series itself. I have build vision 2.5, camera panning, clear camera screens, which is a little outdated, but it's fine. My go-to easy inventory. Yes, I know I should learn the other piece to it, build planning, but I haven't really learned it too much. But I still use it here and there, but not too much. Use more easy inventory for the most part. And I added paint gun so I can help paint certain things if I needed it. So far, it's been good. I didn't need it. So those are the basic mods that I have here. Nothing too crazy. So next, we're gonna go to the advanced, and under the advanced, I did change a bit of this. Character inventory size, I did change it to ×10, which only benefits the time lapse, so I can carry a lot more stuff, so I can start welding and building stuff quickly instead of seeing me weld, go back to the cargo, weld, go back to cargo, back and forth, which can get a little annoying, and it's gonna take more time and extend the time lapse where you see pretty much nothing but just me going back and forth, which is kind of, you know, a time waster. So I decided to increase the size. I could do the welding speed and everything faster, but I left all that regular. Building inventory size, I also left realistic. I just left it as it is, because if you put sometimes when you put too much stuff in a cargo, especially on a rover, it's gonna make it too heavy and it's not gonna be able to maneuver too well. So I just kept it as whatever it is currently. So as you see here, going through it, I'm not gonna go through each and everything, but I do have certain things checked off, certain things change, and most importantly, it was going to be like enable spectator mode, in-game scripts, and what I didn't realize that I kept on here was the, oh, actually I have auto respawn on, which I don't want that, so I'm going to uncheck that off. I had enabled progression on the whole time. When I loaded the game, I was intending to play it without progression, but it did make for a fun little struggle in the very beginning. But that's pretty much it. Not too crazy in the settings. Just change a little bit, not too much. And yeah. Right, so as promised, here's some of the context of the time lapse, especially episode 1. I'm going to load up a slightly quicker version of the time lapse right over here. Right, so the very beginning of the time lapse itself, of course, we landed and we rolled a little bit until our landing gears got stuck. And I started editing the rover a bit and quickly noticed that I had progression on once I placed that wheel. And once I placed that wheel down, what I really wanted to do is use a piston to bring it up to add the wheel, but I couldn't do that, so I put some batteries to flip it up a little bit, but unfortunately it rolled all the way down, as you just saw. And it was, once it was tilted a little bit, I was able to add the wheel, but then I also had to create these ramps to add the back wheels. That was like kind of the initial struggle that we had with this whole debacle of having progression on. How I made the wheels, obviously I had unknown signals, so I went and grabbed a lot of those small steel tubes from those unknown signals that had it, whether it's from the, I think the cargo containers or batteries or whatever, I forget which one produces them, but that's how I pretty much got this rover up and running. So of course, naturally in the next part, I use the data pad to find the next economy base or the first economy base, and of course I got interrupted with the unknown signal because those are important pieces, because there's no stone, I need everything I can get from the unknown signals. But yeah, going back at it, I was going to my first economy base, see if there was anything to purchase, anything useful. And I think once I got there, unfortunately, nothing was interesting at the point because I wasn't too sure what I was gonna do over there. So now I decided to venture off and start grabbing or find a nice flat space with some materials around it. So that way I can start my first base because I want to create a nice big base in a nice flat area. So I found it right here and then quickly realized once again I had progression on and I could not produce any form of power because I couldn't make iron ore or ingots. I couldn't refine iron ore, which I did find in this little hole here. So that was a big issue that we had. So of course, let's just go back to the economy base and hope and cross our fingers that we can find some kind of material that we can use for ore or whatever the case is. So once I got there, I got very lucky. As it reset it, I was able to pick up some iron ingots. So I picked up probably like 100 or 200 iron ingots. Not much at all. I just sold whatever I had in place or in my inventory from all those unknown signals and such. And then I started, once I got that, I was like, yes, I'm good. I can make the girder for the wind turbine. So that helped to alleviate that pain point. And then the other thing I was thinking of making solar panels and things like that. So that's pretty much what happened in EP1 or episode 1. And episode 2, that's when we started to build out the base a little bit and also continue to edit out the rover. Once I had the materials to build a wind turbine, I had the power to refine the iron ores that I found near the base. So that made it where it was easier for me to start making a lot more on the base, to be honest. So without being able to purchase that iron ingot, I would have been screwed for a very long time. And plus, if I destroy that rover with the survival kit and or the battery, it would have been game over. I wouldn't be able to do anything whatsoever, except for maybe respawn a new respawn ship, which I wasn't going to do, to be honest. So once it was over, it was going to be over in that case. All right, so after that, of course, we made this weirdo mosquito-like drilling rover. So I made it mainly so it's high enough and long enough to go down to pick up things that are not too deep in the planet or in the moon. So then like something like this silicone is about 40 meters deep, which we might not actually be able to make or reach. But the idea is to have it high enough so we can bring it down a little bit to mine and drill for these specific things. And the reason I'm getting silicone is because we're pretty much out of it. So this thing is very wobbly. It's not the best thing to use for situations like this. Definitely use a flying ship. If anything, that would have been a lot better. The controls here are a little wonky as well, so you just gotta get kind of used to kind of maneuvering all this. What you see here is it's a little off in terms of actually using it. So all right, so we made it back to the base and I'm gonna let this guy poop out the ores or materials. So eventually we have the 8k of silicone there, so that's gonna help us with our resources so far. So yeah, this is the humble abode. This is the base itself, as you probably saw in the very beginning. So a little walkthrough of the base. So initially the power source and basic refinery is still intact here. So we had first started with, of course, the ground, and then this little small cargo container with an assembler, the basic refinery, and the block slightly not too high, right over here where we hit the turbine, which was the most struggling thing to do because I did not have materials to make a girder with just the survival kit and no stone. So buying the iron ingots, that's what made us eligible to make the girders to make the turbine, which makes the power. So yeah, some people may have said, yeah, you could have just attached like a rotor or hinge onto the rover to get the power. Yeah, that was my initial idea, and that's what I was planning to do, but I didn't know it had progression on, and that prevented me from doing so because in terms of progression, in order to make any of these things, you need to make a battery first. And without stone, without being able to refine iron, there's no way that you can make a power cell. Unless you can just buy the power cell, which is, you know, a possibility. Or the other way to make the rotor hinges and things like that eligible, you would have to make, like I did, a turbine, wind turbine, or a solar panel, as you see here. I could have made a small solar panel in this case just to kind of, you know, open up progression so that I can do rotors and everything like that. But still, I needed the girder, which I couldn't produce whatsoever with the survival kit. So that was the biggest pain point, but once I hit over that hurdle, we have this nice little industrial base, or semi-industrial base, set up here on Europa. So of course I did move the survival kit as kind of like the first thing I did, so we can power it up from here and not lose it while we're in the rover. Eventually I did update the rover with a survival kit as well, which is right in there. I put it back exactly where it was. And of course our power source was the initial turbine, which is still running, but then also did add a hydrogen engine because we are in an ice planet or moon, so we can easily gather that power source. So you may not have really seen it in the time lapse, but that was placed there pretty early once I was able to make batteries basically. And of course this whole drill system is, you know, it's a random idea. It kind of works out, kind of not, but it helps gather the ice. Right now it's going down really slowly on a rotating scale here, and we're just gonna leave it going for now just to collect more ice, and also if we can make this hole a little bit bigger eventually when we get down there. And also in the latest episode we blew this up, so we lost all the hydrogen that was already in the tank, so that was a big fail there for the most part. But also this base does have 3 O2 generators here, so we can make the O2 H2 generators, so we can make the hydrogen a lot quicker. Of course we can put a little bit more, but yeah, other than that we have like the carbon containers just to hold as much components, ores as possible. We have several small ones as well. The hydrogen tank, we did the solar panel type of power source, which, you know, it's just an extra source of power, which is not going to be a significant source. Yes, they're a little too close, but I didn't realize that until I built it, so it's going to be difficult to move them right away, but maybe I'll remove them with some kind of pistons and things like that, maybe, because I really don't want to dismantle it and remake it. So that is going to be an idea for later. But the more important things is the scripts here. So I have a couple of things going on, and this one is actually, I believe it's called IZ's or Izzy's ISY inventory manager, which if you program it right, and it's fairly intuitive, if you program it right, you can see how much ore you have, ingots, or whatever you want to see in your inventory basically. And there's something called an autocrafter in there too, so you can type in exactly how much ore you want, I mean how many components you want per thing that's listed here, and it'll automatically make them if you have the resources. So this way I can keep, let's just say I don't see steel plates here, but steel plates, I'm trying to keep them at 2000 at all times. It looks like we're out of materials, so that's why we can't get that. So iron I'm completely out of. Silicone I got 2.8 now. I had 8k. Did anything spill out? No. So I did have 8k of it, but looks like the autocraft probably did bulletproof glass or something like that, because I'm setting that all up. And then of course you have like nickel, cobalt, a lot of cobalt, so we can do metal grids. We have some silver, some gold, and I think that's it. But we do have a platinum nearby as well, which I got pretty lucky with. Alright, so I am gonna park this guy here, release it, and what I gotta do is do recharge battery so we don't waste too much batteries on this guy here. And sometimes when I do recharge batteries and turn the, no, not sometimes, always, turn the hydrogen engine off, turn the batteries to recharge, which technically means the whole thing's offline. this thing just kind of flops down, which is kind of funny. Alright, so the IZs or IZs inventory manager right here. So that's what's running those big LCD screens. And we have the IZ solar panel alignment as well. That's what makes it kind of dance during the time lapses and automatically goes for the sun. Easy enough. Covered this before in the past as well and how to do it. And of course we have these guys here. So this one is using, once again, IZ's cargo bars. So using a lot of his stuff here in terms of scripts. And this one's easy. You plop on LCD, name the LCD's cargo bar, and it just detects how much inventory is currently in them. So that was useful in the very beginning. It's just a quick little script that we can just put them on. And I was really not looking at the numbers, but more of the color coding. So to see if we are completely full. And if we're completely full, I would have stopped the drill from running so that we don't get kind of encumbered in that way and stall out everything. Alright, so that's pretty much the walkthrough of the base. Nothing too crazy. The big idea here is actually to make a big station here, or maybe like a city-like area, or like separate functions per site. So I wanted to make a like solar panel farmish kind of thing eventually. Maybe some turbine farms or something like that. I have a whole refinery section. I have a whole storage container section, like a garage and things like that, and kind of just build it out that way. And also my own little home or hab station, and yeah, like maybe a port for flying ships, or some driveways for these rovers, some things like that. So eventually I wanted to kind of have a big space here, kind of like a castle like thing, and kind of make it a moat-ish kind of thing. So of course we don't have water, but I'm just gonna dig a big circle around the entire area and add a little bit of a bridge. So that was kind of the idea that I was thinking of, but we'll see how that kind of goes as we continue to build out more stuff. Because right now we're still gathering as much resources as possible. We're trying to get as much power as possible as well. But once we become resource rich, then we can easily build out a lot more stuff. Things like a welding ship or a rover or whatever the case, or even a crane. Probably won't go the crane route this time, but those are some of the ideas. So yeah, other than that, if you see all my GPS pointers, it is a bit crazy. So you will see things that are far away, such as 7 meters or 7 kilometers away, or 8 kilometers away, because those are GPS pointers based on where I was driving at one point, and whatever I find I mark. And luckily I found this nice little flat space that has all the materials I need. You see there's gold, there's silver, cobalt, magnesium, everything but stone. So we can't make gravel, but we don't need the gravel just yet, so we should be okay. There's no uranium that I found. I don't know if uranium spawns on the moon. I doubt it. I think it's just the asteroid. So we're gonna have to go up to space one of these days. Maybe not myself, but maybe I'll use a drone rover. I mean a drone ship to kind of remote control and then fly up. So that's kind of the ideas here. And as I mentioned before, there is platinum here all the way down there. There's actually platinum that I found while I was just roaming around with the rover, and it just appeared on my screen. So I was very surprised that there was platinum here, as you can see here. And it's not that far down. It's 51 meters. Not too crazy. So I can make some kind of like iron thrusters. Ion thrusters in that case. I'm sure I might have missed something, but if it did, yeah, I apologize for that. But I hope I summed up most of what we did so far in the 4 time-lapse videos that we have so far. Keep in mind, there are a lot of work because they are roughly around 3-hour recordings of gameplay. And of course, then we have posts and editing and things like that, which takes some time to do. But of course, if you guys are enjoying the series, I'm going to keep on working on it and sharing it with you guys as much as possible. So if you guys have other ideas or any fun ideas for building, let me know in the comments down below. and of course I'll take them into consideration. But of course I think the next thing I need to do as a small little thing, it's probably a small grinder pit and also a drone to pick up those unknown signals, because I've been kinda always keep traveling around there, and I'm wondering, in some ways it might be an experiment, but can you tell the drone to go to the unknown signal so that way you can have it automatically do that and then control it to pick it up later and bring it back? So that's a bit of a curious question. I'm gonna test it out in this time-lapse series, so hopefully it works out. If not, you're probably gonna see a drone just wiggling out and wigging out for no apparent reason. But yeah, so I think I covered everything. So again, this is a big project. There's a lot more to do here, to be honest, and I am having fun doing it as well. So again, I'll just keep on trucking. I'll keep on working on it, as it seems like you guys really are enjoying it. So of course, if you are, hit that thumbs up, like the video, consider subscribing to the channel, hit that notification bell, drop a comment down below, and of course I'll see you guys next time. Bye.